Hi everyone, my name is Akshay Arora and I am from Sri Chaitanya. So, this podcast is all about the student welfare. We got a lot of challenges in the student life. So, today podcast is very useful for the parents, for the students, for the faculty members, and all those people who actually found themselves into the lives of the student, lives of the children. They want to bring some change in the student life, in the perspective how the children think about. So this podcast will be very useful for all of those people who belong to the environment of the students or the children. So as a guest member, we have a famous personality, Kanak Durga ma'am, with us, and I would like you to, ma'am, introduce our members here in this podcast and what are your experiences and something about the things that we are actually using here to reduce the stress of the students at Sri Chaitanya ecosystem.
Thank you, Akshay, for having me here. My name is Kanakadurga Kalidindi, and I'm the Student Wellbeing Team Vice President for Sri Chaitanya. And we have started this initiative with the intention to provide support to the students, mainly in the aspects of their mental well-being, their emotional and psychological well-being. As we know that Sri Chaitanya is an academic institution, the academics support is always there for the students. The whole purpose is to be here to understand, to study and to take up good careers. But through the process, they also go through a lot of stress. They also have a lot of challenges that they face when they are studying. And so the purpose of this initiative or this program is to provide a holistic support to the students and be there with them through this journey. And that is the reason why we have called our team Nestham, which in Telugu means a companion.
Nestham.
Yes.
All right.
And we are their wellness companions. And that is the reason why we have called ourselves Nestham.
Okay. So we are next to the friends of the students.
Well, almost.
All right.
Because there is always a professional boundary which we need to draw, because students have their academic guides, they have friends in campuses, but a mentor, somebody who listens to them, is what I think students are lacking these days. Because everybody comes with their own perspectives. Like from the teacher's perspective, their whole and soul purpose is to ensure that the students excels in academics. Okay? The parents also have a different perspective. They also want students, their children, to top whatever they are doing, right? But the student has a different perspective sometimes. The students have a lot of challenges, especially in the adolescent years. And in today's day and age, we hear a lot of people saying that nobody understands us. Adolescent years is the most difficult years, both for parents, for the child themselves, as well as for everybody dealing with the child.
Ma'am, I would like to interrupt. Like, you use the term "nobody understands us." So, like, are the parents speaking this or the students speak about it?
The students. Everybody, if you talk to a counselor, everybody who comes to us will say nobody understands us.
Yeah.
So, of course, there is a student perspective, there is a parental perspective as well.
Right.
Okay. Which probably, that communication that needs to be built, I guess, is what we work on with the students. We are probably somewhere in between, where we can try and balance out the perspectives of both parents as well as the students and the teachers.
So, yeah, members who are actually watching the recording or watching this session, very beautifully, ma'am has expressed what Nestham is. Nestham is a program of Sri Chaitanya and it works for the well-being of the student. So, ma'am, like, I feel that something, if it is new or introduced new, so if there is a need of introducing this thing, ma'am, so why actually the need has been taken place? So the lot of guides I see in the students' journey. First is a parent, ma'am. Second is a sibling. A student might have a cousin, big brother, big sister, who actually have passed this year and they are actually guiding the student or the child throughout the journey. The third guide is the school teacher. Fourth guide is a coaching institute teacher. So you are the fifth mentor, ma'am. I feel so. Like, why there is a requirement of a fifth mentor here?
Okay.
So, what has been missed by the first four people? So, we require you. What is the reason that?
The only thing I guess missing in this case or any case for that matter is a listening ear. Okay.
Listening here. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as counselors, we are taught, we are trained as professionals to have a very non-judgmental, view about everything. Or when we are talking to the students or to the parents, we are there to listen to them and not pass any judgment about it.
Okay.
And so we are the non-judgmental parties to this, and children or anybody, we are the listeners
All right.
and we are the empath.
And that's how you create openness.
Yes, absolutely. Because what is lacking probably is the empathy sometimes.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Because there are pressures for everybody, for that matter. As an institution, there are some pressures. As teachers, there are some pressures because there is timelines for everything. You have to finish your portions in certain time. Yeah, parents have certain pressures as well because there's a lot of at stake economically, a name in the society. A lot of students who come to us come from rural backgrounds where they are the first learners, first generation learners. So it's it's a matter of pride for the parents as well कि हमारा बच्चा school में पढ़ता है और my son is doing his IIT or NEET or whatever it is.
And the aspirations are also associated.
Yes, so there's a lot of aspirations and a lot of things that are attached with this kind of education, especially in India. Okay. Having come from New Zealand, where I lived for a long time, we don't see that kind of competition, especially because lack of population. It's a very small population.
Yeah.
In India, we see that the population is large, there's a lot of competition. We have a very young generation population as well. So it becomes very imperative that we put that kind of pressure on children, at least from the parents' perspective. Otherwise, in so many people, my child will be left behind. So that is the attitude that parents have. Yeah. So here we come and say to the students, we hear you, we understand what you're saying, okay? And that, I believe, is the reason why we are here.
Okay, and once the student is open with the problems, definitely he'll be feeling satisfied. He or she would be feeling satisfied psychologically that, someone is there to listen to me.
Yes, absolutely right. Because I think one of the first things that any counselor does is have one whole session of just venting out. So student or any person or the child comes to us, they tell us all the issues that they have, or at least what in their perspective is an issue. Okay.
Absolutely.
It could be small things that we students come up with to us. Our role is to make them understand, make that issue not a non-issue.
Absolutely.
And that is where we show them the bigger picture. So understanding the world in a different way for them. Seeing the world independently from a protected environment to an environment where they have to take small decisions.
Teachers and organization point of academic point से दूसरी problems आ रही हैं मैम और एक personal problems we can assume मैम relationship problems in the teenagers that can be a part of the personal problems मैम. तो इन तीनों या 3 or 4 categories of the problem we'll have to discuss.
Yeah.
And what are the solutions? That is the second point, ma'am. So let's start with the problems.
Okay. I'll talk like a counselor. Okay.
Absolutely.
And when you say there are a lot of problems and they need to be reduced, okay, I feel that all these problems that we are talking about, if we word it differently and call them challenges.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. There are many challenges, and that gives you a bit of a motivation to work towards overcoming those challenges. Yeah. Some of them we cannot, some of them we can.
Okay.
Yeah. 100 years back, girls were not allowed to go to schools. They were not allowed to. So today, in today's world, we are very lucky that especially even in rural India, girl child is now ready to go to schools. They are willing to study. They're becoming taking up good careers. So we have overcome a lot of challenges. If we thought about it as a problem, we couldn't have overcome those problems.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes a problem, there's no solution to certain problems, okay? But every challenge can be overcome. And we can overcome challenges if we look at it like that, yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
So our perception about it needs to change, right?
So problem has to be looked at as challenge.
As a challenge.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if a student starts to think about a problem as a challenge, okay, and say, okay, I'm going to overcome this challenge, then there will be success.
Okay.
Definitely.
That means,
Right?
ma'am, the student perspective has to be changed. So
Yes.
problems will be there, but your perspective to see those problems should be different.
Definitely.
That
yeah.
should be a positive.
Yeah, yeah.
Or absolutely.
So,
yeah. Ma'am.
As far as parents are concerned as well, like, I guess when they say that my child has to become a doctor,
Yeah.
or my child has to become an engineer, okay, instead of saying that, if they say my child needs to be educated, they need to have good careers, okay, they need to have good life, yeah, and if that changes, then there's no pressure on the child to pursue certain subject or certain stream of education.
So, ma'am, one thing I want to discuss with you, like I have heard somewhere in a book that success is not the end point, ma'am. Success is a journey.
Yes.
So we need to be throughout full successful in a whole life. Like this is not the end point. This is somewhat I dream for and achieved when I need to go ahead, ma'am. So it is a journey, and the student has to keep in mind this thing that if you become a doctor, that's not enough. For the successful doctor, you need to be throughout successful in everything that you do.
And again, that changes with what we connect success with, whether the word success has been defined as somebody who earns well, somebody who has a name, somebody who has a big career. So there's so many things that are related to the word success. Again, it's a perception, matter of perception, okay? Whereas a person who wants to be live a full life, yeah, can have a good career, can have good family, can travel, can see the world, can do so many things and yet call themselves successful.
Absolutely,
right? So again, it's a matter of perception as to what we define as success as a society.
So yeah, ma'am, till now we have a very fruitful discussion on the aspects, how the challenges being faced by the students, and we'll also discuss the remedies for that. But I also want to highlight in this podcast that how Sri Chaitanya is working with the program Nestham.
Okay.
You already discussed the meaning of this program, ma'am, and somewhat introduction of the program has also been given. So my question to you is, what is student wellness according to Nestham program?
So wellness means an overall, the word wellness has an overarching meaning, wherein we are looking at the physical, emotional, mental, social, financial well-being, and it's a complete picture of a person. So there are 8 aspects to wellness. And as when it comes to students, we are probably not talking about their financial wellness at this point of time because it's being taken care of. But otherwise, we are looking at their intellectual, that is the cognitive aspect of it. We are looking at their social wellness, which means whether they are able to, have meaningful relationships, whether it is with their families, whether with their friends. So the social aspect of it. Then we are also talking about some level of spirituality, because a lot of us believe in God, and developing that spiritual aspect of a person also is included in the overall wellness of it, okay? The environmental aspects of it, so it's a complete, a 360 degree holistic approach to a person. So that is what we call as wellness.
Student wellness.
Yeah.
Great,
it is
ma'am.
not, according to American Psychological Association, it is not just not having an illness, but it is also about the choices that you make, the lifestyles that you lead, and that will make you feel like a complete person.
Absolutely, ma'am. So problems with the students, ma'am, we already discussed. But how Nestham will help us to overcome these problems in the student's life?
So We are engaging with students on an everyday basis.
Okay.
Our approach at this point of time, because we have a large number of students, is to we are approaching students in small groups. Okay, so the counselor typically goes to campuses, has a group of students with whom they discuss various topics. So it could be about the interpersonal skills. It could be about how to cope with stress, how to deal with their time, in a more meaningful manner. So we see that a lot of academic stress is added because students lack that skill of managing their time properly. Yeah.
Absolutely,
So
ma'am.
we talk about time management. So there are different aspects that we sort of, we are trying to develop what we call as life skills in students. Okay.
Great, ma'am.
And once we interact with students, there could be specific issues that the students would like to discuss with us.
Okay, ma'am. And how the interaction starts? Like, is it a 1 hour session or one session, multiple sessions?
We do multiple sessions in each campus, and each session is about 40-45 minutes, because we are also aware that students have very limited time. So we conduct usually a 40-45 minute session in each campus for every, because some campuses are really big. So we conduct several sessions in that campus, and based from that group sessions that we conduct, a lot of students come in smaller groups to us and say we have
Yeah,
similar problems.
absolutely.
So we deal with that group and discuss that problem with that specific group.
Okay.
And there are students who also come individually and say, I would like to talk to you one-on-one. So
Absolutely.
we provide one-on-one counseling as well. So we try and reach out to all the students, and we are available on campuses on a regular basis.
Okay, and ma'am, how the student can actually get in touch with you?
Well, we have a helpline, and students can reach us on the helpline. On campuses, we are available in person. We also, the principals or the administrators can reach out to us and ask if they need any counseling sessions for their students. So through email, they can contact us for that as well. So we provide wherever required. We are also providing online sessions. Like, we are based in Hyderabad, but we have conducted sessions in Chennai. We have conducted some sessions in Bangalore and other places as well.
Okay.
So that's how we are reaching out, because technology has made it easy for us.
Yeah.
So it's like, wherever there is a scope, we are trying to reach out to the students.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
ma'am. I can feel, ma'am, there are some students who are a bit shy. They are not open to their problems. They have the problems, but they're unable to speak about it.
Yes.
So, like, how to reach out those students, how to motivate them to
Okay.
bring out a problem?
So what we are doing is we are trying to, we are calling them speak boxes, and we are having a small box with our logo in all campuses. And wherein the student who is really shy, doesn't want to talk about their problems either in person with us or whatever, we ask them to write their problems and put it in that box. So when we go to the campus, and we open that box and see those, and we understand some problems can be as simple as I'm getting distracted, I'm getting a lot of negative thoughts. Okay.
Absolutely.
So when we read those, then we sort of can come up with a module on that specific topic, instead of calling out that student individually because he is shy or she is shy. We can conduct a general group session on that particular topic.
Now, I would also like you to highlight the key initiatives that has been taken by your team in this Nestham program.
Yeah. So when we first started this initiative, and we went on to campuses to see what is there for us, the principals are open to us coming to the campuses, and we are having we call them Nestham Nook or a Nestham Corner, where we are sort of putting up small things, like we call it what you call that, a positive tree or something like that. So where we have a kind of a tree in the form, a paper or some kind of drawing, where we put positive thoughts.
Okay.
And students are enthusiastic about doing those things. They're participating, and we are also given a small place to sort of conduct our sessions and keep self-help books or whatever that can be there are lots of worksheets that we work with.
Okay.
So we're encouraging students to sort of use those things and help them through their issues. Self-help is the best help, right?
Absolutely. I
So
also agree, ma'am.
yeah, so as long as we are, our job is to empower students to deal with their own situations, because we
Absolutely.
cannot be there with them throughout. Nobody can be there with them throughout,
Yeah,
right?
self-help is
Yeah.
the best help, but
So
how to do self-help?
is what we are teaching
Yeah,
them.
we'll be teaching.
Yes.
So we are encouraging student
yeah.
to participate in the activities which create positivity in their
Positive.
life.
Yes. Yes.
All right. How to identify and address the student need, ma'am?
This requires a lot of observation. Okay, first of all, as counselors, when we are sitting, we are conducting classes, we do a lot of observation. We see how the students is sitting, okay, whether they're paying attention, whether they're enthusiastic, whether they're participating. Okay, so observation is one of the first things that we need, because sometimes we can identify severe mental health issues just through observation as well.
Okay.
Okay, and interaction with the students, that is another one which is very important, because when we interact with the students, we understand what their needs are, what their challenges are, and where they need help from us. So based on that discussions, we also talk to the faculty, we talk to the administrators, the educators, and see what issues they are coming up with. However, when there is a need for a particular thing that we observe, it could be like the principal of a college may say that there are a lot of conflicts among students. So we design a specific program required for the for that particular campus. Sometimes students come and tell us that they have particular issues, like
Okay.
like in one campus that we went to, a group of students came and told us. Actually, one student came to us and said, "Ma'am, I want to work on my anger." And then 10 other students started coming and said, "Ma'am, I also want to work on anger management."
Okay.
Then we say, okay, this is the need for this group of students. Even if it is 10 students, we will design a program for them. We will teach them techniques on how to sort of, understand the emotion of anger. We where it is stemming from, because for everybody it is a different reason.
Yeah.
It cannot be the same reason for everyone. So we try to understand where that emotion is coming from, and so those small group counselings are very useful many times. So the topics come from different sources, and they can be changed. It has to be fluid, in my opinion. It cannot be like, it cannot be like what you call that, a syllabus. And say, I'm going to finish this syllabus.
Something
That's not
about
how,
the anger management.
Yeah.
A proper lecture is being delivered.
So it
to the
is
student.
not like that. It cannot be like that. It has to stem from the need from the students. So it keeps changing and altering according to the need of that particular campus or the
I
student.
agree for the same,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah.
All right. So, one of the important aspect that, ma'am, how do you ensure that the wellness program, Nestham, is accessible to all the students?
Well, this is one of our attempts to do that, like
Yeah.
coming on social media. We have an Instagram page, we have started a Facebook page, and we are trying to be more socially on social platforms where more students reach out. Yeah. So that is one way we are doing it. Wherever there is physical presence, like in Hyderabad, Vijayawada, and Vizag so far, in campuses, we have the facility to sort of, put up posters and create general awareness. So we are trying to reach out to people through those kind of conventional methods as well. Yeah.
I think, ma'am, self-care in the student is very important. So, how do you encourage self-care in the students, ma'am?
Well, we encourage self-care not only in students but also in faculty, because if the faculty comes to a point of burnout, then the students are the ones who are going to lose. So self-care is important for every person, every human.
Even the parents as well, ma'am.
Absolutely, anybody, because we are the center of everything that happens around us, right?
Absolutely.
And unless we look after ourselves, like, we cannot be part of anything else, right? However, I guess for students that becomes the last thing, because they say, okay, let me eat after I study. It's as simple as something as little as that. You see a lot of parents who will be bringing their food to the table for the child, and they say, "Ma, abhi nahi, baad mein khayenge," kind of thing. So we have to tell them that through cognitive restructuring that this comes first, and once you are nourished properly, get good sleep, do good physical exercise, then your body will be more resistant to any kind of challenges. You will be more rejuvenated, and you will be all the effort that you're putting in study will go waste if you're not in a receiving mode.
Absolutely,
Right?
I also agree, ma'am.
If you're going to look after yourself, eat well, sleep well, get some good exercise, then whatever you study, you're going to absorb.
So my next question is, how does academic stress impact the performance of the student, ma'am?
Well, at the end of the day, students' main focus is their academics, and that is very important for them. Yeah. But I think earlier also I said that the focus should be on their learning rather than on the results. But there is a lot at stake, yeah, for the students, because there is huge competition, and it's not easy to be a student in today's world. In today's day and age, when we studied, we hardly ever worried about the competition over there. But today it is a very, very competitive world, and unless they put in all the effort, time, and everything into their academics, it's really hard to get anywhere. Because we are seeing so many students with the same kind of marks and same kind of intellectual abilities.
Yeah, this
And
year we found that in the NEET examination, 18 students.
Yes.
Like initially it was 67, then the paper has been again been evaluated. So
Yeah.
18 student got 720 out of
Yes.
720.
So we know that it's not giving your 100% is not good enough anymore. And if we have to survive in this competitive world, we have to put in a lot of pressure. Okay. But understanding that, accepting that this is going to be what it is for the next couple of years, and probably once they get into the medical colleges or engineering colleges, this is a phase of life where they have to focus on this. Yeah. And then once you put in all the effort, you will be able to enjoy the fruit of it as well. Okay. So I guess if we have to sort of if we focus on the learning and enjoy what we are doing at the moment, then we will be able to sort of not feel pressured by what we are doing. Right?
Ma'am.
So when you say academic pressure, it is I have to study so much. Okay. So that word "so much" feels like a lot. Okay. But
Yeah.
instead you say, okay, I have to study chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, then you're actually breaking it into smaller pieces, and you're able to focus on each piece at one time.
Got it, ma'am. So
So-
basically, the entire goal has to be distributed in
Yes.
sub goals,
Yes,
and these sub goals will be acting as a milestone.
absolutely, absolutely.
So once these sub goals will be achieved, so that means a particular portion of the task has been achieved.
Yes.
We can actually figure out in this way.
Absolutely. So we have to keep readjusting our goals. We have to keep readjusting our, the milestones that we are reaching, and also not forget to celebrate what we have achieved. So
This is very important, ma'am.
one thing students don't do is I did not get so much. So and so got so much, or last time I got so much, this time I'm not able to get this much.
Yeah.
They need to understand this whole thing is a process. And the process will culminate at some point of time, and they have to have patience till that process happens. Yeah.
That's great, ma'am.
We saw that it reminds me of the recent Olympics incident with Vinesh Pogart.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was also very disheartened for
Very disheartened, very disappointed. However, can we dismiss all the successes that she had so far?
No, we can't.
We cannot, right? So in that one last thing, there's so many other things that are weighing on that. You know, There is a bit of a luck factor. There's external things that are out of our control. So there's so many things that students need to understand, that the process of learning is what they need to focus on, because in the last exam there could be so many other factors that will affect them. Like, there will be hundreds and thousands of students with whom they're competing, right? So your learning is in your control. And everybody's learning is not in your control. So somebody else will be equally intelligent, somebody will be equally smart and be able to answer those questions. So
Yes,
it's all
ma'am.
us.
Like we have got the answers of various questions, and you have explained it wonderfully, ma'am, about the team Nestham and the kind of the efforts you people are putting in the Sri Chaitanya organization and the ecosystem, where you are working properly on the student needs and you are fulfilling the demands. You are creating emotional balance, physical balance, mental balance in the minds of the students. I think this will really impact the lives of many, and yeah, that will help us to create a productive future. Lastly, I want you to highlight a case study, ma'am, particularly that this is a problem and this problem can be remedied or can be evaluated, assessed, and solved in this way. So
Okay.
one of the problem I want you to highlight the problem as well as the remedy for that.
So we see a lot of students, right? And each student is different. What stresses one student may not stress another student at all. Yeah. So in one of the campuses that we came across, one of the students, she's in the residential campus, and her major issue and diversion or distraction for her was that a friend of hers who was very closely associated with her, or who she thought was her best friend, suddenly stopped talking with her. And this has become her major issue and distraction, where she felt that I cannot study anymore. So she stopped, studying properly, and was not able to focus on her studies. So she came to us and with this as her major concern. Okay. So we worked with her. We worked with her need for to have that dependency need, as to why the student needs that kind of dependency on another person, so we come to know a lot of personal things about how she probably, right from the childhood, where she has had a lot of disappointments and a lot of, insecurities kind of thing. So we worked through her insecurities and things like that, and towards, as we progressed, she managed to get back her self together and performed pretty well in her exams.
So in this process, we have not taken the help of the friend.
Yes, we have not taken the because
This is very important, ma'am.
important.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, even like being a teacher, what I do, ma'am, we also faces the same problems. Are like he's my friend, he's not talking to me, and
Yes.
he's abusing me, he's not behaving with me properly. So we used to scold the friend, and we also like to convince the friend to talk to him genuinely and be the friends again. So
Yes.
this is one of the remedy that we suggested. But yeah, this cannot be every time, ma'am, because
And a lot of times students also come to us and say that we are not able to say no to our friends. We are being pressurized by students to, I'm not studying right now. Why do you need to study? Come and sit with me. That kind of pressure that is built on students. So we also teach them how to be more assertive in those cases, how to be able to not buckle under peer pressure for things, and sort of, take a stand for yourself.
absolutely.
And that's very important as well. Yeah.
Okay, so this is, ma'am, something inner engineering
Yes.
a student wants in the life
Yes.
to actually be more productive
Yeah.
and be less stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. And ma'am, a knowledgeable podcast that I have with you today. There are a lot of things that we can have from the viewers of this recording of the podcast. So I want you to, all of you who are actually watching this podcast, to be with your questions, put down your comments in the form of the questions. Our team is there to help you out. All over India, if you are a parent, if you are a student, if you are a teacher, and you have some personal questions, you can reach out with the help of our helpline number as well as the mail address being mentioned on the screen. And thus, we'll be very eager to answer each of your questions, and we'll be there to help you out in every way. So thank you so much everyone for watching this series of the podcast, and we'll have some more sessions on the student well-being with the ma'am.
Thank you, Akshay. There was one last thing I would like to say to the students who are watching us, that the future is yours. You have to make your future, and make it a beautiful one. Make it something that you will be proud of, not necessarily making somebody else proud, but you need to be proud of what you do. So the success will happen. You will be there will be lots of things to celebrate. So look forward to all the celebrations and always be happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.